It is Secret Level Clearance Monday. Thank you very much for your patience. I know it is late getting this up. Just been a lot going on today. But fear not, I do have a topic for discussion, and I think it's going to be something that will help everyone who watches this, whether you're at Secret Level Clearance all the way up through the Maquis Masters. What it has to do with is this. If we are unclear and passive about our priorities, someone will come along and rule us with their priorities. And everyone is guilty of this at some point in their life. To be at a point where people with narcissistic personality disorder can enter into our lives and take advantage of us and steer us in a direction when we find ourselves without one. Now, I know this is going to be a touchy subject for a lot of my audience, but hear me out. I have a question for you, and I need you to answer it honestly. If you're going to conduct psychological operations, you have to be able to grasp that we are all human, no matter who we are. If the man you see pictured here is a conservative and has within him conservative values and conservative beliefs, why in the world would he care, one way or the other, what a liberal organization says about him? By just virtue of the fact that he's making the allegation, he's something entirely different. CNN doesn't hide the fact that they're liberal. It shouldn't bother him in the least. He could possibly have made the allegation that perhaps during the election season, that it might have hurt his chances of being elected, but after, once he becomes president, why would he care? Why would it bother him at all? Why would it ever rise to the level of needing to be spoken about or tweeted about? Or, you know, there are people in everyone's lives we come across that they are just cut from a different cloth. They're from a different place in the world, and their opinion of you means nothing. Because they're just not the same thing. They don't have the same belief systems. You know, as an American, I really couldn't care less what people from China think of me. They're Chinese. I'm American. They can say all sorts of bad things about American. Fine, wonderful, fantastic. That's the opinion of a Chinese person. That and a dime won't get you a cup of coffee. But what it really has to do with is this. Now, I know this seems odd, but I really want everyone who's within the sound of my voice right now to go to this website and read this article. It's Wait But Why, no spaces, all small, .com. Taming the Mammoth. That's all you'd have to Google to find. This speaks about this part of our brain that overvalues our ability to, or our need to feel socially accepted. And when you read through here, you will see our president in a nutshell. And a lot of other people in the media as well. A lot of other people in entertainment as well. It is, I read through this and I'm like, wow, if I had only had access to this during the election, and maybe a larger audience, I only had a couple thousand subscribers during the election 2016, but psychological operations is basically the ability to affect the mental state of someone to the point where you can control them. If you can identify this in someone, they are incredibly, incredibly malleable. And that's the key. We've talked about Maslow's hierarchy. We've talked about confirmation bias. We haven't talked about the social survival mammoth. It's kind of a funny analogy. I've heard it taught in other ways before. But it's this idea that living in a tribal group is something we were used to and got ingrained in us, and this acceptance of the group was vital for our survival because we couldn't survive on our own. But how even now we don't have that need anymore. This thing crops up in our brain. And having raised 2 daughters, I'm looking through this and I'm like, yep, absolutely, absolutely, exactly. And all of the different things that you've seen yourself do and watch others do, it's all here. And if you apply this to our current leader, you will see something about his need for acceptance from a group of people that he should not care the least about. Why would he care about the acceptance of a liberal news organization? And we assume that because we see how upset he gets when they misreport something about him. There were things misreported about the last president all the time. He didn't, especially on Fox, didn't lose his mind every time. Sherkstack didn't get on his Twitter account. And like I said, not a giant fan of Obama, but you have to call a spade when you see it. And this is the case. Why would it bother him so much? If you can identify that and you can see the reasons, you will come to a conclusion, I do believe, that this man isn't nearly as conservative as you might think he is. Having been a Democrat for 10 years, which he was, having counted amongst his friends, the Clintons, having given money to Rahm Emanuel and Chuck Schumer, these things didn't happen by accident. These people at one time were part of his value structure. He's been on CNN many times. Interviewed by Wolf Blitzer, going back many, many years. So why this... he sees this organization differently than his supporters do. And I would like, at the basic level, my patrons here to understand the psychological operation in effect here. And he's letting CNN know they can get to him. And that's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous, but if we're unclear and passive about our authentic selves, someone will come along and make those definitions of what our authentic self is for us. So we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time.